You're all very welcome to today's Assembly. It's Tuesday, March 23rd. We're getting closer to the Easter holidays now at this stage. Quite a lot to get through, so I'll get through it as quickly as I can. We have information on transition year and Leaving Cert applied in this Assembly today, so it's quite important information for anybody who's interested in applying for those programmes. As I said, purpose of today's Assembly are general announcements, assessment of junior cycle, because of course that's coming very, very soon, transition year information, as I said, Leaving Cert applied, school competitions, and as well to remind you about the supports available to you at this time. So to start off this morning or today, important for students who have Zoom classes on at the moment or any check-in classes to continue to show up to those and be ready for them when you do. Keep up the good work. It's still a lot of good work going on from a lot of students. There are one or two that have fallen away a little bit, so maybe you might take the opportunity this week to catch up, and you can start getting ready to return to school. We can only assume, I know numbers are going up at the moment and it doesn't look great, but give it a few weeks and we'll see, and we should be back in class after Easter, and I'm sure you're all looking forward to that. In terms of your senior cycle subject choice, that's almost completed now. We have one or two more coming in all the time, but they are now almost complete, and that will shape the options and so on for next year's classes. If you have any queries again on subject choice and you want to do anything about that, you can contact Mr. Keneally at dkeneally@summerhillcollege.ie or Ms. Taylor at mtaylor@summerhillcollege.ie as well. Process for transition year and Leaving Cert applied next year is commencing now. We're going to do it over Easter time. You'll have over Easter to fill out the application forms, and we'll be submitting those after Easter. So we decided to publish the information now so that you'd have plenty of time to review it and to think about your options going forward. Students who do transition year in 2021-22 will need to redo their subject choice next year anyway. So in terms of the assessment proposals, and this is what is coming down the tracks for you, as you're all quite aware, the junior cycle examinations in June were cancelled quite recently, and instead of that, the schools have been asked to submit an assessment report for each student. And what's going to happen as well, later on in the year, you will receive a certificate called the Junior Cycle Profile of Achievement, and that will include the information about your CBAs and also a statement of the subjects that you studied. But the results will primarily come from the school report, which we will issue to you in due course. In the subjects where there are projects or practical work, the normal percentage allocation will apply. So, for example, if there's in one subject, I know there's 75%, 37.5% is for the practical, 37.5% is for the project, and the remaining 25% is for the examination. The same thing will happen with the summer examination at the end of 2021. The 60% of your overall total will go for that, and in a subject that is just an examination-based subject, that's what will happen. In terms of the other 40% that's left over, there'll be 20% going for your examination results from first and second year Christmas and summer tests, an aggregate of those, and also then there'll be 20% for your overall work, particularly this year, homework, class tests, project, observation, online learning where appropriate. And what we mean by that is some students may have had difficulty in accessing online work and so on, but we will take that into consideration because we would have that information to hand at the moment. But that's the sense of where the percentages will go. And finally then the CBAs, which a lot of students are completing at the moment. Some people are completing them online and others will be completed when you come back. And a lot of students have finished their CBAs. Those CBAs are kind of marked separately and they will be added to that Junior Cycle Profile of Achievement report. And we'll include them on your report from the school as well. Now, next, we're going to go on to transition year. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Whelan, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about transition year and about how you can enter, or what's involved, I suppose, particularly with transition year, and what you should look for in it. So I'll hand you over to Mr. Whelan now, and then we'll be hearing from Miss Casey during the presentation, and then I'll come back to you with some of the entrance requirements that we're setting out this year.
Thank you, Mr. Doniher. And I'm going to start off with a quote from the transition year guidelines from the Department of Education, just all about what transition year is in a nutshell. The Transition Year programme is a unique one-year programme that promotes the personal, social, vocational and educational development of students and prepares them for their roles as autonomous, participative and responsible members of society. So we'll continue now and we'll just go through some more slides just in connection with what Transition Year is all about. So the aims of Transition Year are that it's education for maturity, education through experience of adult and working life, and Miss Casey will be talking to you more about work experience later on, and also skills and self-directed learning. So Transition Year, what it does is it provides a bridge from junior cycle to the more independent learning environment associated with senior cycle, and it encourages the development of transferable critical thinking and creative problem-solving skills. So why would you opt for Transition Year? Well, first of all, I'd say it's not for everybody, but for those students that it is right for, is that it prepares students for the challenges that they face, develop their self-esteem, it develops students' digital literacy throughout the whole year, and it gives them a chance to explore and prepare for third level education and also preparation for work. So who does it suit? Well, it suits self-motivated learners, students who can work effectively in a team, those interested in exploring other academic areas beyond what they've already studied, and students who are interested in developing academic excellence, and people who will participate in competitions, and people who will commit to time outside of school for different things like projects and practice on their digital learning also. So the programme is split up into 3 separate areas. First of all, they will continue to study core subjects, and we'll show you those in just a few moments. And these are taken by all students. Then there's optional subjects. These are taken on rotation, subject to availability, and extracurricular options that are unique to Transition Year. So the core subjects that students will be studying are English, Irish, maths, religious education, career exploration, and work experience. Then also they will still continue to study modern foreign language if they did one up until junior cert. They'll also do physical education, accounting and financial management, digital skills program, enterprise education, product design and development, and computer science, which is new for this year. Then other subjects that are offered on rotation where available are engineering, DCG, construction studies, music, economics, EPAS, which is the European Parliament Ambassador Schools, and Miss Casey also runs that, business, history, geography, art and art history, home economics, politics and society, GAA future leaders, and also the 4 science subjects. So we'll have biology, chemistry, physics, and agricultural science, and these are all subject to availability. So each student must participate in the following: guest speaker visits, workshops, excursions and day trips, driver safety program, and visiting the IT in Sligo. We've had a partnership with IT in Sligo for a very good number of years, and they've been very good to our students, providing them with different programs down through the years. And we also get a site visit to IT Sligo just to see what it's like as third level students, and they offer a great program for us there. Then all students are encouraged to take part in some or all of the following activities: mini company, which is where they would set up a little business or sometimes big business. And Miss Casey again has been very successful with mini companies over the year, nationally and internationally. We also ask students to consider taking part in the Gashka Award, which is the President's Award, visiting Sligo IT again, at the different programs that they offer during the year. Social awareness, which is helping out different charities during the year, whether it's in school, out of school, or even visiting as part of the Pope John Paul II Awards. They set up visits with nursing homes. Now, I know these have been very difficult in the last year, but this is what we would usually expect students to try and take part in some of these. We also do a lot of different field trips, first aid, school bank, and also paired reading, where students from the senior cycle, transition years, would help junior students with their reading and learning. So up until third year, students have been used to sitting in a class, teacher at the top, telling the students everything that they need to know. Students would go home, do the work, hand it in, teachers would correct it. But in transition year, it's the start of more independent learning. So the methodologies that we would use in transition year are a little bit different from what they would have been used to. So it's much more active learning, student focused, with the teacher more of a facilitator rather than just standing at the top of the classroom giving them information. So we have a lot more active learning during the year in transition year. They would also engage very much in group work, pair work, project work, out of school activities, engaging with guest speakers, and also portfolio development. And we have a digital portfolio that students would compile during the year, and it would give them a bank of their best work throughout the whole year. So I'm going to hand you over now to Miss Casey, and Miss Casey is going to tell you about work experience, and I'll hand you over to her now.
And just before we go to Miss Casey, just to remind you as well that quite a number of the activities were curtailed with COVID-19 in the last year. But we would hope, I suppose, that as time goes on, certainly after Christmas anyway, that we should be able to return to some sort of normality with those activities that we present and that we have been doing for the last number of years in the programme that we have. Okay, let's move on to Miss Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Danner. Hello, everybody. I'll briefly take you through the work experience element of our TY programme, and then just some general points on the programme itself. Here in Summerhill, work experience is a compulsory part of TY, and this means that our students go out on work placement 1 day a week for the full academic year. As it stands, the allocated work experience day is a Friday, so every Friday during term time, students will not attend school, but instead have the invaluable opportunity of experiencing the working world in a work placement setting of their choosing. It is expected that students work a minimum of 6 hours per work experience day, as we feel this reflects near to a somewhat typical working day. It's important to note, though, that these 6 or more hours of work don't actually have to be between the school times of 9 to 4, but are at the discretion of the employer. So typically, students may find themselves starting work very early in the morning, or perhaps later in the evening, depending on the nature of their work placement. As work experience accounts for such a large part of our TY programme, and with a substantial number of students being on placement every Friday, it is vitally important that we protect the integrity of not only our TY programme, but also the integrity of the school week. In order to do so, we insist that all students bring a work experience record card with them to work every Friday, and it is their responsibility to get this signed by their employer before the end of their working day. This work experience card is then cross-checked by myself on their subsequent return to school on a Monday morning. Students do not need to stay in the same work placement all year long. It is, of course, perfectly fine should they wish to do so, but we find that many students will have numerous thoughts as to what career path they may hope to follow or college courses they may like to study. As a result of this, they may want to use their work experience days wisely and get an insight into all of these options. Multiple work placements are encouraged, but we insist that students do not leave one work experience without having another one lined up. Very simply, they should always have work experience to attend on a Friday. Inevitably, we are trying to teach them that in the real world, you wouldn't leave one job without having another to go into. For most students, work experience is one of the highlights of the TY programme. It gives them an insight into the working world and their future career prospects. They learn exactly how tough it is to work from 9 to 5 and how exhausted they are when they come home. Work experience means different things to different people, but in essence, a period of relevant and well-structured work experience provides an opportunity for our students to reflect on their own development, to explore career options, and to interact with individuals who are engaged in a variety of disciplines in the workplace. Even a relatively short work experience placement provides an insight into what the student will or will not enjoy in the working environment. And down the road, when the students enter the job market, most employers will ask them about work experience and what they learned from it, and they will be grateful for their chance to refer to the TY work experience. We also find that work experience will guide students better when choosing subjects for senior level. But more importantly, work experience teaches them skills that we as educators cannot teach them inside the four walls of the classroom. We are often asked if students can complete additional block weeks or maybe a few days in a row of work experience. This is perfectly acceptable as long as the work involved has an educational benefit and that we as a school have pre-approved it in advance of the block week or days starting. We would find that certain workplaces like architects, primary schools, solicitor's office, physiotherapists, etc. prefer to have students in with them for a one-off week rather than one day each week. And this is, I suppose, in order for students to experience a full immersion programme of what the job and the career entails. After the block week though has finished, students must return to the regular Friday work placement. With regards to finding a work placement itself, that responsibility lies to students and not to any of us involved in the TY programme. I would suggest that as soon as you're accepted into TY, that you actively start to look for a work placement for September. Remember that between all programmes in the school, we have more than 150 students every week in work experience, so it's advised to start the job hunt early. Employers around Sligo are well used to Summerhill students approaching them for work experience, so don't be fazed or put off by this. Go into potential employers and chat to them face to face if and when restrictions allow. Maybe ask your neighbour for hours if they own a business. Call in a favour somewhere if you need to. But find yourself a work experience placement where you will get to learn, where you will get to explore opportunities, and where you will get to gain new skills. On a daily basis in school, it's expected that students fully embrace all aspects of the TY programme. This means getting stuck in, trying new things, helping out, challenging yourself, being open-minded, learning new skills. All of those things that TY stands for, and the very reasons why you wished to do TY in the first place. There is nothing optional on any given day in TY. You welcome every part of it with open arms and a positive mindset. So in terms of maybe just a few general pointers on transition year itself, for many students, it may be and will be a different approach to learning than they've had previous experience of, and this may not suit all students. In order to make the most of the TY year, students need to be more self-directed, able to motivate themselves to get work and assignments completed on time, to take the initiative, and not be afraid to get involved in the various programmes, the competitions and activities that are on offer. If you are really making the most of your TY year, you will find yourself extremely busy as you say yes to the numerous opportunities sent your way each week. As I stated previously, TY will help you explore and possibly narrow down your career options if the potential benefits of work experience placement are fully harvested. Also, the optional rotation subjects throughout the year that students get to choose will undoubtedly aid them when it comes to selecting their subject choices for senior cycle. So ask yourself the question, am I suited to TY? Well, if all that I've just spoken about has resonated with you, then we would say yes. But also adding to the mix that you should be the type of student whose mind and eyes are open to the other areas of learning, outside of what's perceived to be the normal curriculum. You are the student who spends time getting involved in the sports coaching courses, studying for the next piano grade, who is on the road to becoming the next successful entrepreneur, the young economist, or the future scientist. You will all be afforded the same opportunities in TY. How you approach and deal with that is the difference between having a well-earned, fruitful, worthwhile and memorable year, or one that you wish to forget. So remember, what you bring to TY is yourself, and with an open mind, you will get out of it only what you put into it.
Wise words there from Miss Casey. Thanks for that. Now,
Hello, everybody.
Now, just to talk about the programme evaluation, we carry that out on a regular basis. We have the core team weekly review meetings, a whole staff review as well, and students and parents always give feedback at the end of the programme, and we always have an ongoing review with employers. Just to also talk a little bit about the assessment and accreditation. In TY, we have a certificate which we award at the end of the programme, which includes the online portfolio, the key assignments for each subject, and the work experience reflection journal, and the overall participation in the programme, and the skills assessment with the Microsoft Skills. Also, the admissions policy in terms of admissions to TY, quite a lot of questions about this, and we've had some emails in about it as well. Hopefully this will clarify it for you. The relevant year heads will meet with a member of the senior management team to review all applications and create a suitable shortlist of candidates based on the students' behaviour, attitude and attendance during their time in junior cycle. Now, this is from the admissions policy for the school. And the school reserves the right to refuse a place to applicants for a transition year programme whose behaviour it considers would be detrimental to the rights of other students who apply for admission to the transition year programme. I suppose what's key there is what's mentioned, and that is the students' behaviour, attitude and attendance during their time in junior cycle, and that's something that we will take into account in the application form. So the acceptance by the school of a TY application form does not guarantee a place on the TY programme, because what we have to do then is we have to look at the application forms, and we meet with the year heads, and then we make a decision around who is accepted into TY and who isn't based on those applications. Students who are not allocated a place in the transition year programme can appeal the decision to the Board of Management. And also to mention as well that in class groupings it's not always possible to guarantee that friends can be kept together, or students who are very friendly with each other or want to be in the same class in transition year. That's not always possible because of the way the groupings are formed in TY, which are slightly different from the rest of the timetable. Just in terms of the evaluation of applications, as I said, fully completed application form needs to be submitted on time, and we have a date for that. I'll give it to you at the end. It'll be after Easter. A full review of behaviour record to date, so we'll be doing that over our administration system and in discussions with the year heads. Also, review of online engagement, taking into account any mitigating factors, as we would do as well with the junior cycle assessment. But certainly the online engagement over the last number of months would be quite revealing for some students, and maybe might be a situation where we might need to look at their application for TY and their motivation and self-direction and so on. The recommendations, as I said, of year heads and staff, and the evidence of the students' ability to work independently. In terms of the closing date, we'll be closing that on Friday the 16th of April, so that gives you quite a bit of time. You can have all the way over Easter, and after you come back, if you have any questions in the completion of the form, you'll be able to open the form and you'll be able to complete it, and you'll be able to go back into it as many times as you want until that date. So you'll be able to change the answers if you decide you want to.
Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more details about the transition year, and hopefully this will answer any of the questions that you might have. But you can also email me with questions, and I'll give you my address later on. Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more. Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more. Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more details about the transition year, and hopefully this will answer any of the questions that you might have. But you can also email me with questions. Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I continue now with just some more detail. Thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and thank you again, Mr. Doniher, and I'll continue now with just some more details about the transition year, and hopefully this will answer any of the questions that you might have. But you can also email me with questions, and I'll give you my address later on. So how much does transition year cost? Well, €300 is the current price, and we work on not asking parents for anything more during the year, and we manage our budget, and we have our different trips, our guest speakers, any of the administration that we need for the year. Also, that would cover any of the items that they might use in engineering, in construction, in the sciences, in languages. So the €300 is what you would pay for the year. We don't come back and keep asking you for additional money. So we make our budget work for us, and it has worked in the last number of years very well. So this can be paid in 2 separate payments if you wish. It can also be paid all together in the beginning. So the first payment we would ask to be paid by June, 150 with the contract, and then the second part of the payment can be paid another 150 at the October midterm break, just leading up to the October midterm break. So again, these will be available to be paid online for your convenience. So I'll just go on and I'll tell you a little bit more now. So can my son practice his computer work and typing at home? Absolutely. A lot of the courses that we're doing, and especially over the last year, we've learned that students are getting very good at doing all their work online. And certainly with his computer skills course and his typing program, these all can be done at home. Just all you need is access to the internet. And again, what does a €300 cover cost during the year? Well, I spoke about that. It will cover really everything that you need during the year. It will cover all your trips, guest speakers, and any of the materials that we use during the year, and any administration. So should everyone do transition year? Well, my initial answer is no. It doesn't suit everybody. And sometimes students try and convince themselves that they should do it just because their friends are doing it, or that parents might think, oh, it's the best thing for them to do. But really, it doesn't suit everybody. And if you're a student who maybe would think that they would do transition year for the wrong reasons, that it's going to be a lazy year or a year off, I would really consider not doing transition year, because it really doesn't suit everybody. And I'll give you some reasons why in a couple of moments. So what type of students would best suit transition year? Well, the students that would tend to get involved, students that would volunteer for stuff, students who are not just going to sit there and wait to have things handed to them, but to be more active in their learning. And these are the type of students that we would want in transition year. And a lot of students would go into transition year, with different goals in mind for the end of the year. Some of them might want to just get a little bit more confident. They might want to engage with other students a little bit better. They might want to make sure they get the best qualifications. And they may not be somebody who would be putting their hand up for every single thing, but that's their prerogative, just to get this done during the year and to set themselves goals. But what it really wouldn't suit would be students who would just go in thinking that the teacher is going to be standing at the top, entertaining them for the year. And if that's your idea of what transition year may be, I would really give a serious consideration to not doing transition year. So things to consider carefully about transition year. If you decide to do transition year, it will delay you finishing school. And, we describe it as a very expensive year in one way, because it would delay the process of you getting into college and maybe starting your career and starting your earning. So if you wanted to delay all of that, and if you're quite happy to do transition year and you feel that you'd benefit from doing it, absolutely. But think also that it will delay the process of you getting into college and going on and starting your career. So the expense is that you won't be earning as quick as somebody who may not have done transition year. So it's definitely not suitable for all learners. and I spoke on that earlier, but really consider your reasons why you intend to do transition year or why you're applying to do transition year. And again, there are several people that are available to talk to you about transition year so that you make sure you don't go in there without having given it due consideration. Nobody is going to be forcing anybody to do it. It's not compulsory in the school. So really, it does require a level of maturity and responsibility to take part in it fully. And, it can be hard for some students if they get out of the habit of doing regular homework. If there's somebody who needs to be pushed all the time, maybe transition year is not the year for them, and maybe to move into fifth year would be the best thing for them. So it's really up for discussion. Really think about your reasons why you want to do transition year. Have a look at the application form, and I know Mr. Donner is speaking about that already. But please make sure you go down through the full application form, fill it out as best as you can, so that we can find out who are the most suitable candidates for doing transition year. And again, if you have any questions about transition year, please, there are several people that you can talk to about it. So, as I said, if you have any questions, you can email me here. My email address is on the screen in front of you now. It's fwhelan@summerhillcollege.ie, and I'd be more than happy to answer any of the questions. And hopefully, when we're all back after Easter, if students have any questions directly, they can come and see me. I'll be around taking questions. If they see me in the corridor, they can just stop me and ask me any questions that they might have. And again, they can also email me direct to my email address that's on there. So thank you very much for listening. And I'm going to hand over to Mr. Donner, who's going to finish off the presentation.
Thanks, Mr. Whelan there. As I said, closing date for applications Friday 16th of April for the transition year. I was going to give you a little bit of information now on the Leaving Cert Applied programme. This is something that Mr. Whelan would have recorded a couple of weeks ago for the subject options night, but it's maybe just a little quick reminder of it for you, just to give you a sense of what the Leaving Cert Applied programme is all about, and he goes into the detail on it here.
Programmes Coordinator, and I'm here this evening to talk to you about the Leaving Cert Applied. So, what is the Leaving Cert Applied? Well, it's a distinct, self-contained 2-year Leaving Certificate programme aimed at preparing students for adult and working life. And it emphasises forms of achievement and excellence which the established Leaving Cert has not recognised in the past. Who would benefit most? Students who are not adequately catered for by other Leaving Certificate programmes, or students who choose not to opt for these programmes. So the rationale behind the Leaving Certificate Applied: it prepares students for adult and working life, it recognises the talents of all pupils, it promotes communication and decision-making skills, and it applies knowledge and skills to the solution of real problems. So here's a list of the subjects that are studied, and many of them are similar to the established Leaving Cert subjects. So LCA, or Leaving Cert Applied, is assessed over 3 different levels. First of all, you have the satisfactory completion of modules. That's all the schoolwork and key assignments in school would account for 62 credits, or 31% of their overall marks. 7 student tasks would account for 70 credits, or 35% of their overall marks. And then their final examinations that they would sit at the same time as the established Leaving Cert, that would account for 34%. And the certification is awarded at 3 different levels. Pass would be from 60 to 69%. Merit would be from 70 to 84%. And a distinction would be from 85 to 100%. For students who have studied the Leaving Certificate Applied programme, they have a chance to open up new options for themselves. So with this, it shows you the Leaving Certificate Applied route map. And if you follow the red arrow there, it just shows you that students who finish the Leaving Certificate Applied programme could go directly into careers once they've finished. And if you follow the green arrow, you'll see that some students will go from the Leaving Certificate Applied programme to apprenticeships and then on to a career. And then others would choose maybe to go on to follow the yellow arrows there. You'll see that they might go on and do a post-leaving certificate course, which may lead to higher education and eventually down to a career. Or they could go straight from a PLC course directly into a career as well. So if you have any questions, my email address will be at the end of the presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Whelan, for that. Just to finish up, we've gone on for a good bit of time there, but you can go back over some of that material if you wanted to look at it. Certainly, the Leaving Cert Applied application form will be available and is available from the email that you get this presentation on. Just finally, I suppose, to organise your workspace for the remainder of time you have at home. Have all your equipment at the desk. Try and avoid the distractions using the phone. If you can, do the work as soon as you can. If there's too much to do in a given slot, then do it later on, but make sure it gets submitted. And message your teacher through the Google Classroom if you are going to be late with an assignment or if you have any particular issues. Just in terms of looking after yourself, get a good night's sleep, get some fresh air and exercise. The weather is picking up now. Switch off your devices in the evening time, take your regular breaks, and just do your best. 5 a day for your mental health. You've seen the video on this a few times now at this stage, but connect to other people, be active, take notice. And I like this one, I particularly like the one look up. Keep learning. Get out that violin or the tin whistle or whatever it is that you were learning, or a musical instrument or some sort of a sporting skill. And the last one, which is really, really important, give. Help somebody else with something, and that's always a very good thing to do. Support's available to you if you need a code for Google Classroom or a Chromebook or anything like that. But email us at info@summerhillcollege.ie. Any other issues that arise, we do get from time to time lots of things that happen with people at home and issues that arise in their families and so on. And it's good for the school to know that. So email the above account and we'll get a member of staff to contact you if that's appropriate as well. If you wish to ask the Student Council for assistance or make contact with them, you can contact them at studentcouncil@summerhillcollege.ie. Just to finish the school competitions, the Growth Mindset competition is still open. That's going to be open until after Easter. We've had a good few entries now at this stage, a few good ones. Get yourself a Growth Mindset quote and a photograph and make a poster from it and send it in. And there's a prize of a €50 one for all voucher. The Strava PE competition is still on. Join that as soon as you can. And the Keepy Uppies, we're still waiting for the high number on this one. And we have a €75 one for all voucher. Entries must be submitted before the Easter holidays. And not much time left on that, but time to do that. Okay, we will return to school. That's the plan. We're back at the moment with 5th years and 6th years, and of course we're getting ready for 3rd years as well, and 1st and 2nd years to come in. So hopefully that will happen. In the meantime, look after yourselves to look after each other. And if there's any questions you have on any of the presentations or any of the information that you want on transition year or Leaving Cert Applied, or if you want to continue on to do the ordinary Leaving Cert or the regular Leaving Cert, please do get in touch with the guidance department or get in touch with myself here at the school, Kay Donaher at summerhillcollege.ie or info@summerhillcollege.ie as well. Thanks for listening. I know it's been a long one, but hopefully you'll have some good information to go away and ponder your options and think about what you're going to do in the next couple of weeks with those application forms and so on. And we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully you'll have a nice Easter and a good time off and a nice break for yourself. Please do so, and we shall talk to you fairly soon.